Yeah, sorry I'm pretty late today. I had bit, a few network issues, which I've kind of solved now, hopefully. But yeah, you're welcome to I think this is our 16th, especially since we've been focusing on Leaf MVC for, I think, like the past 3 months. Um, yeah, so, um, since we've been focusing so much on Leaf MVC, I noticed the experience for just building with Leaf is not as good as um, I would like it to be, especially considering all of the things we've done for Leaf MVC. Yeah, so I just thought I would take some time to show what building without MVC looks like. So you don't have like your fancy folder structure, no models, views, controllers, and all of that stuff. Um, yeah, so that's pretty much what today is about. But then before we actually go through that, I'll just list a few things I've been up to this week. This week has been a bit busy for me, but we got a few things done for leave this week. Um, so I was supposed to release our new CLI thing, which was supposed to replace the what do you call that? The Symfony console. I think I talked about that a bit last week, and that's Sprout. So Sprout was actually supposed to be released, I think early this week, like Monday. But then I wasn't able to finish that up. Um, I think it's kind of like mostly done. There was only I didn't want to waste much time on that. Um, so yeah, I kind of just paused that to work on other stuff. Leave. So there's an example command. Basically, it's just mimicking leaves serve command. So you can pass in an optional file name if you want to, or you can use a port. Basically, this is a new syntax, so you don't have to create a configure function before. You'd have to have like a configure function, and my shortcuts are not working. Perfect timing. Okay, so you need a configure function. Um, yeah, and then you pretty much do this, so like set help, this dot set argument, and all of that stuff. But now you don't need to do any of that. You can just do this. So yeah, pretty much everything is working except the prompt. So if you took some time to go through what Sprout was supposed to contain, it was supposed to have a bunch of stuff here. Probably not everything will go into version 0. I mean, like the first release, but then there were some important things which would be necessary for Leaf CLI, like this prompt. Was kind of done if I can find Leaf CLI around here. So I took some time to try rewriting Leaf CLI using Sprout, and uh, yeah. So basically, I was able to pull that off. But then the prompts, right? So that's how you create prompts. So you can have like a Sprout prompt, and then you basically just pass everything in like that. So the prompts can be of type like a select. You can have a select prompt where you choose between a bunch of things. You can have a text prompt where you ask a user for something, and then they have to type in value. There's also supposed to be like a number prompt and I think like a true or false prompt, but I haven't worked on that yet. Yeah, basically, this is the whole API for it. And if I can run this, let me actually try running this. Um, I think that would be PHP bin / leaf. And then I don't think I did this help screen, but basically it's exactly the same as the current leaf CLI screen. That's what you're supposed to get. Anyway, so the create command, yeah, basically this is the prompt stuff at work. So it will ask you your project name, and then you can type it. So now this is the part I'm stuck at. Actually re-rendering a prompt, which I've been able to do, but then replacing the current prompt screen with the latest re-render is kind of what I'm stuck at. I didn't want to waste time on this, so I just kind of skipped it and then did other stuff. So once you select a value, you have this and then you can sort of use the arrow keys to control this. Basically, it just re-renders for every item you select. And then the creation process is the same, with a few more modifications, a few more additions. So it's kind of working. The only problem is I don't want to push it out with this re-rendering bug, and I don't want to take extra time to kind of figure that stuff out right now because there's a lot more to do for Leaf MVC 4. And then Paper Plane's release was supposed to be next week. I don't know if I'm on schedule for that. But yeah, so like there's just a whole lot of stuff to do, and that's pretty much my only blocker. So that's what's up with Sprout. It's supposed to make things a bit easier. So like if you have a bunch of prompts, instead of um, going through symphonies, console helper, prompt helper, question helper, blah blah blah, you can just pretty much do it with one command, and then it returns every selection. So you can have like selections name because I named this prompt name. So you can pretty much pass an array of arrays containing your prompt, stuff like that. That's how it's supposed to work. So I have project name, project type, and then I do whatever I need to do from there. Yeah, so basically the API is done. The process API is also done. I had to fall back to Symfony for that. But then the process API hasn't changed from the older versions. So by the way, this is the application I just created. So you can see here, it's actually working. It's actually working. It's, I just don't want to push it out without prompt issue. So I would say that's pretty much the only blocker on the new CLI thing. Yeah, so I would take some time after Leaf MVC4 is released um just to go over that. I mean, after the beta is released, I was supposed to push that together with the beta, but yeah, I don't want to waste time on that. So yeah, that's pretty much prompts. If you want to use in the current status in, you can just check this out. You can use this composer require leaf sprouts and it would work fine. Yeah, let me switch to dark mode. Okay, there we go. So the repo is leaf sprout. You can try it out. I don't know what you want to do with it, but I think the documentation is pretty accurate. I think so. Because I actually wrote the documentation before I built it, so I built it based on the documentation. So it should be it should be pretty accurate. Okay, so that's for Sprout. From there, Leaf got a few tiny fixes. We finally had our first issue with what do you even call that? Roles and permissions. Um, yeah, so roles and permissions have been in beta for a while, just for testing within your applications and stuff like that. So yeah, we had our first issue for roles permission stuff, and it was this problem with default. Apparently, I don't know. I actually didn't run into this issue. From what I got online, it was for like older versions of MySQL and Postgres. Yeah, I don't know. I actually don't know which versions are which. I just run MySQL. I actually don't know what version I'm running anyway. So there was this issue with the defaults, but that has also been fixed. It was fixed this week. Um, Everything looks good. Yeah, but then again, if you have any issues, we're not just roles permissions, but any other issue, you can either drop in Discord or open up an issue here, and I'll be sure to check it out. I don't know if we had any other releases. I have not been able to open Discord for a while. I don't know what's up, but Discord keeps crashing and updating. Yeah. So yeah, those just fixes, just pretty much fixes this week. Nothing really interesting happened. Um, Laracon EU was this week, and as usual, Laravel had a lot of good stuff. But yeah, I guess. Um, oh yeah, right. We're supposed to be having a kind of comparison with Laravel. So both Leaf and Leaf MVC, just to see where Leaf shines and where Laravel shines. I mean, obviously, they both have their strengths and weaknesses. So that would be a good one. So yeah, if I don't know when we can do that. Maybe I don't want to say next week because next week is also going to be pretty busy. There's a lot I have to push out for Leaf and Leaf MVC. Um, yeah. So I think those are pretty much our updates. I think the documentation had a few tiny changes as well, but nothing drastic. Um, yeah, I think that's pretty much it for now for the updates Leaf had this week. Um, okay. So I mean we can get started with our main thing for today, which is figuring out how to build without MVC. Personally, that used to be my preferred way of building because that was kind of how I started working on Leaf in the first place. I wanted something lightweight, but also feature rich for like everything you can see here. And the solution for me was to have Leaf. Leaf MVC was just a little addition for people that wanted structure. So Leaf has kind of always been the main thing for me. But then recently I've been focusing a lot more on Leaf MVC. So this is just a little sort of twist from the norm. For those that just want to build something really fast, really lightweight, something they can deploy anywhere without doing any configuration. Um, yeah, so that's pretty much who Leaf is for. With bigger projects, you usually want to have some kind of structure, and that's where Leaf MVC comes in. I mean, you can still build big projects without structure if you want to, and if you know what you are doing. But if you don't, your work can quickly spiral just out of control. So yeah, let's just do it. I'm going to be using a Leaf CLI to just generate a project, and I think we should build something similar to what we did. Was it 2 weeks ago with Leaf MVC 4? We built this mini social note taking app thing. Um, yeah, I think something like that might be fun. I don't know. And it's pretty lightweight too. I'm tired of building blogs, so yeah, maybe we can do that. So we can just go with the leaf create command. I'll name this social app. Um, maybe social app test. I don't know. And then you have to select. Do I have any updates to do? Looks like okay. I don't have any updates to do. Okay, so I can just select option 0 for a basic leaf application. It will scaffold everything it needs to scaffold, and that's pretty much it. So I can seed into what did I name this up? Yeah, right here, social app test. Okay, and as usual, I'll just open this up in VS Code. Okay, so as usual, this is what you have. We haven't updated this yet. We updated the Leaf MVC4 welcome page, but we've not done the same for Leaf. Should probably do that soon. So I'll just run leaf serve to start a server here, and we get this. So this is the normal welcome screen. By the way, it's actually the welcome.html file here being loaded through response page. So yeah, that's pretty much what we have here. I don't even know how we'll structure this. I actually barely remember what we did for the social notes app on Leaf MVC4. I think I hosted that somewhere here. Looks right. Okay, so I'll just go through the see what we did, see what we can copy, and then probably just leave out the rest. Right. So first things first, authentication. Unfortunately, we don't have a way to scaffold this as we did with Leaf MVC. So we have to do this manually. Might be nice to have a scaffolding tool for just Leaf. But then the reason why it doesn't come with any sort of scaffolding tool is with Leaf, you're kind of starting on a bare plate. And then we have no idea what we are going to do with this. So you can choose to use Blade, you can use Bare UI, you can choose to not use templating at all. You can be building just an API. So we literally have no idea what you're doing in the first place. So we have no idea how to try to scaffold what you're trying to do, if that makes any sense. Um, okay. So yeah, we pretty much have to set up everything ourselves. But then that's not a problem either. You kind of have the Leaf CLI and the documentation to help you through the process. So what do I want? I think I want Blade first. So I can just scroll down to Blade. Where's Blade? There you are. And I'll just copy this command, leaf install Blade. And I will paste that in here. So this will install Blade for us. Okay, we have Blade now. What else do we need? We need authentication. Authentication. Where do we find authentication? Somewhere here, I think. There we go. So authentication, leaf install auth. I'll copy that and paste that in here, leaf install auth. Okay, cool. So we have Blade, we have authentication. Is there any other thing we used over here? I don't know. Anyway, let's just start setting these up. So for authentication, we would want to connect to a database. I don't want to do a lot of work, so I'll just kind of use the database we used last week. That's my notes app. It has a notes table and a users table with this already set up. So unfortunately, another thing is um, if it's like migration files or schema files, but then that's something schema files is supposed to solve because once schema files are officially published, we can pull them out of Leaf MVC and then add them as just a random module that you can install. So you can do something like Leaf install schema and then probably just have like a DB folder where you can put all your schema files in. And then that'll just make the whole process of working with databases a lot easier. So that's kind of one of the things we'll work on for making building without MVC easier. But for now, unfortunately, you have to create a database yourself. I have PHP management, so it's a bit easier. I just click on stuff and it does it for me, like new, and then just type everything in. But then, yeah, it actually would make much more sense to be able to use schema files outside of Leaf MVC. Okay, so we have our database. Let's connect to this. We have auth connect. That would connect to your database immediately. Auth connect uses LeafDB. I mean, technically, we can use either, we can go either route, but then it's basically the same thing. So we can just connect to our database, and then auth will automatically pick up the database connection to use. I think I'll go with DB load because that defers the database connection. But I didn't test out with leaf auth. Okay. Our database name is what's our database name? I think that's my notes app. I'll just copy that and then paste that in here and refresh. Hopefully that doesn't fail or anything. I'm not using deferred connection, so if it fails, I'll actually get the error. So that worked. So I can change this from connect to load just to defer the connection. So it won't actually connect till I need the database or something like that. Yeah. So by the way, from the next version, using connect will automatically defer the connection. Since that makes a lot more sense. So by default, connections will be deferred. It won't connect on the spot. So yeah. I don't think that's a breaking change though. I don't actually think that would break anything because when you need a database, it will sort of connect on the spot, and that's just faster for other routes that don't need instant connection. So, okay, I have this. Let me just try to get everything from my database. Let's see how that works. So I can response JSON and then just say db select notes. So I want to get everything in the notes table. And then I can just use all. So refresh and I get everything from the notes table. Okay. So if we're actually building an API, this would pretty much be all of our work and we are done. We can go sleep. But we are building a full stack application. So we have to first of all tell Leaf to use Blade, and then we have to build our Blade views. Very annoying stuff. Anyway, let's just do it. Let's just do that. So I can go back here, configuring your path, app Blade configure, or I can actually just use this. I can use this and then do my app Blade configure. Yeah. So technically, if you are using Leaf MVC, all of this stuff is done for you, so you don't have to do them yourself. So with Leaf MVC, you just start from here and you have everything working. But since we are not using Leaf MVC, we have to do all of this stuff ourselves. Because as I said, Leaf doesn't know what you want to do. For instance, we could just be building an API and then this would be our entire application. But then that's not what we want to do now. So we have to tell Leaf what we want to do in this case, which is attach a view. So we're attaching Leaf Blade. And then we have to tell Leaf Blade where to find our application parts. That's kind of a bit. That's kind of a bit because once again, Leaf doesn't know what you're doing. Same story. So we can create a views path, and then I will just create a cache path. Yikes. Cache path. There we go. So I'll just change this from storage to cache. And then now we need to place all of our blade views inside the views path because that's what we told Leaf we want to do. And I'll name this index.blade.php. And I'll just start off with this. I'll name you hello world and hello from blade. So index.blade.php. And then now to actually use it, we need to response view or response render. I'll use render because I don't know, it's just my preference. You can use response view or you can app blade render. Response render just looks a whole lot better. By the way, this blade here magically popped up because we attached view. So when you use attach view, Leaf picks up the class name and then sets that globally. So you can do stuff like app blade. So if it were like maybe Twig or some other view engine, this would be Twig. But then if you want to, you can also kind of set up something. I don't think that's attach view. I think that's probably another function, which I've forgotten. Everything's in documentation, so you can search for that. But by default, attach view would pick up the class name and then just set that up globally for you. So that's the same reason you can do app blade in Leaf MVC and it just works because once again, Leaf MVC has done all of this stuff for you. So yeah. Okay. Way too many tabs open. Okay. Let's see. So we've done this, we've configured blade. We have our index.blade.php. Let's just run this to see if it works. And what we get? One passed into blah blah blah. What's this? 14 expected. That's weird. That's pretty weird. Too few arguments passed to leave blade configure. That's weird. Yeah, that's actually really weird. Anyway, let's try this. And then we can do this. Okay. Am I sure this thing is actually using the right version? Ublade 2.0. Uh, yeah, I think I've kind of run into this issue before where it just uses completely wrong version of things. And this is the latest version of Blade. We are running a completely wrong version. And I have no idea how that happened. Um, composer require leaves slash blade again. Nothing to install. Still using version 2. Ah, oh dear. Okay. So I'm just going to delete this, delete my log file, and then just have it install what I want it to install. Please install. Hopefully that works out. And I am just going to go back to what this is supposed to be and probably try to figure out why it installed the wrong version in the first place. But yeah, this looks like it's done. So let me just go back and refresh, and we have hello from Blade. So that works perfectly. Composer trying to give me a bad day, but we're good. Okay, so we have Blade working, we have our database working. And now we have to build out a UI, which I absolutely don't want to do. So let me see if I can actually just steal the UI we built for the MVC4 version. That would be so nice. It would be so nice if I could actually just steal that. I think that was pages auth dashboard page or something like that, if I remember right. This is so much work. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this, paste this in index.blade.php. I'll remove this for now because we are not yet loading our notes. Auth username. So we kind of expect an auth username, which we don't have because we are not logged in. So I guess it'll make more sense to build a login part now. So let's just do that. And yeah, once again, we don't have our console to generate all of the stuff for us. When we actually don't even have Tailwind installed. So we actually disabled view install for Leaf applications that weren't using Leaf MVC because of the updates to Vite, to Tailwind, React, and all of those other things. So we kind of disabled this command, and it should work only with Leaf MVC. I don't know if it'll work because the command was like, then I have no idea why it's actually working. Um, yeah, and I don't think I'm on an older version of the CLI too, because it would have sort of auto updated. So the CLI auto updates. If there's a new version, it just hops onto that. Yeah, I don't think I should have let us install because even if it does install, it will probably install version 3 of Tailwind, which is not what I want. Um, wait, that's where they actually installed version 4. Okay, that's weird. That is so weird. Okay, let's see if this works. If it works, that would be pretty nice. Let me just go back here. And instead of auth username 0, I will just put this here, comment that out, comment this out as well, and then just put tips. Why am I making so many typos today? Anyway, so now we need to go back and we need to, I don't think we have the double server thing here. Oh, actually we do. This is so weird. This is actually so weird. So I didn't think all of this stuff for just Leaf, but then it turns out we do for some really weird reason. This is failing for some reason. Failed to load config from V. config module not found at tailwind CSSV. Yeah, I knew something was up because it was looking too good to be true. So I just have to npm I tailwind CSSV, and I probably have to I think I have to do this too. Right. Okay, so looks like we are good. Right. Okay, so looks like we are good. I will try to restart my server. Okay, I actually have one here running already. It doesn't really matter. So leave serve port 80, 81, and okay, we're good. Looks like it's working. Uh, looks like it's working. So let's try this out. And we still don't have Tailwind working. Right, so that's because I haven't actually brought in my CSS. So I need to do that. And Tailwind no longer uses this. We need to import Tailwind CSS, I think. And then what's our source? We have to add at source dot slash, I think, views. Right. So then I just need to bring this in, link CSS, and then our style sheet is in dot slash CSS slash app dot CSS. Okay, so let's see if that works. Is our server still broken? Da, 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 da. Wait, what did I do? Did I use a link? Oh my goodness. No. I'm so sorry. Um, I'm supposed to import that through Vite, and I don't even know our project scope right now. Anyway, I'll just set out the CSS slash app dot CSS, and I probably will get an issue with that. Why? Vite manifest not found, but then our Vite server is actually running. What is going on here? What's going on here? Let me just quickly restart this. Probably why I should have set this up from scratch. Probably why. Anyway, so I'll just restart this, get everything running, and manifest not found. Okay. Let me just try this. Actually, I have no idea if this is supposed to work. Doesn't look like it's working. Okay. So actually, when you call as v, this is the function that runs, and you're supposed to be able to pass this in, and then my base directory is. Actually, I don't even know what my base directory is. I think that's the major problem right now. I actually don't know what my base directory is. Because I think by default the base directory is set to use the leaf MVC directory, but this is no leaf MVC. So yeah, okay, it looks like I can override that with view start. Okay, so that's probably what I would do. Override that with view start. Right. Wait, but I'm actually supposed to be able to override that here. So what happens if I change that to dir? No idea. Build manifest or JSON. Wow. Look at me trying to figure out this dir. Maybe this. Okay, still not working. Still not working. Okay. I have absolutely no idea why this is not working. Because I'm clearly supposed to be able to override the directory just like this. Um, yeah. And then clearly this is here also showing that the Vite server is also running. So why is it ignoring everything? It's kind of ignoring all of my config for some weird reason. Let me just remove this. CSS up CSS, refresh through, resave everything, and probably just leave the yeah. I'm still not sure why this is. It's kind of ignoring all of the config I'm doing. And I have no idea where it's trying to load the files from. I don't really want to debug this right now. Build manifest. Huh. You know what? Let's try doing this. So npm run build and then see what happens. Yeah, so it's able to build the files, but it's not able to save them, which is weird. Right. So if I run this now, oh, I have to leave serve. I think nc for like no concurrent, something like that. Dash dash no concurrent. Okay. Why is everything just ignoring all of the configuration of this? What did you actually even build to? Is a good question. Builds to public. Okay. For some weird reason, let me try this. That didn't work either. Okay. Uh, that's just weird. That's just actually weird. Okay. I'm going to pause until wind, which means we won't have our nice styling. Or we can probably use a CDN or something, which is not a good option to use in production. But anyway, I don't want to waste time on view stuff. Tailwind CSS, CDN. Da, 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 da.